All right, I think I'm back, everyone. Thanks again, Alex, for getting this to work. It's never a Friday concept art stream without some technical mic issues. So I think I'm back. Let me know if you can't hear me again. Hopefully this time again, I will actually look up to see if anyone's telling me we are back. Okay, good. Thank you. If you were joining me before the technical difficulties, you'll see that I was working on the Gardner. So I'm going to continue on that. I was going to put some little details. Here at the team, they took a look at this morning. Uh, they they liked it. They actually said maybe we could try putting her what's it called, her beaded glasses holder inside the model itself. I mean, I was thinking, oh, is that too hard on too much extra geometry for the game engine to render? Does it make any kind of impact on the game performance? But uh, you know, 3D guys, they know of a simple way to make it workable and make it work in the game. So putting that back in on her. So, um, I'm trying to think of any last few details that I need to put in here before I kind of move on to doing the turnaround pose. So, like, before I get this modeled, I really need to make sure that I'm happy with just the way she looks. Even thinking as much as, how would this model move? How would it animate? And would I be happy with that? Uh, you know, So one thing right now, I'm not really used to working with 3D modelers, so I've never really had to do turnaround poses before. So I'm just getting used to that, and just knowing, what is this character that I've done in 2D, and I'm totally happy with. But what is the profile of and the contours of her face look like? So that's something that I'm just trying to kind of work out right now. So I'm going to have to do a series of these just to make sure that everything is in line. I'll show line work here. It'll line up with kind of the earlier version of it. Yeah, so what I'm looking at right now is kind of issues that I think some kind of details that are probably too small shouldn't even be a concern when it comes to modeling this character. Details like the tiny uh, leaves coming off these branches that are, uh, you know, growing out of her head. Should these leaves be even detailed? Even right now in this drawing, yeah, they look like mosquitoes or something. But once it's modeled and she's actually in the game, I doubt those will even be able to be seen unless they're just colored a little differently. Then you might be able to notice them. Yeah, so I'm gonna try something a bit different now. Something I haven't done with this character before is actually, well, actually before I was gonna skip to. I did 3/4 pose, did a side pose. I didn't actually do a front pose of her, so I think I'm gonna go there before I even go to the drawing her from the rear. So what I'm going to do is bring back this drawing, put it really low so I have, again, some kind of reference. Layer, and then continue from here. So what does she look like from, if she's looking directly at the player? So one of the first things I want to do is just get her head right and shape of the head. Is it going to be a pure circle? Is it going to be rounded? Is it going to be a little more like an anime where the eyes are set a little bit lower? Um, you know, is she gonna have this pointy chin? Is it gonna be uh, look appear something like this, which I've done earlier? Was, you know, I wouldn't say jowls, but I forget what it's called, where you definitely get some sagginess going on in the face. Um, just to emphasize, you know, she's an older lady, rather than a useful, you know, a face that's really youthful and everything is quite taut. So I think I'm going to do something like that, where there is a bit of curves to her face. And again, even though I've been drawing in this kind of fashion for a while, um, you know, slightly cartoony. You know, it's it's just a style that I wouldn't necessarily say is my natural style. So knowing how to draw exaggerated facial features or proportions is still a little bit different for me. Um, and I never really know where to draw the line sometimes of it being too cute, um, or too or too char- characterize cartoony. Um, Even to a point where even last night I just had to like draw another face, a more realistic face, just because I'm like a little tired of drawing cartoony characters that I want something more realistic. So I just kind of whipped that off, just just to remind myself that I can draw like that. So back to her. Um, One of the main things is this an anime? Not really anime. It's weird when drawing simplified faces. Uh, they can look anime-ish, especially when you have the same kind of I think anime type tropes. Well, let's say tropes, but shortcuts into how to draw a figure. Um, you know, the shape of the head might be the same, the size of the eyes, it might be that same kind of structure of the, you know, hiding the nose or just making a simple corner for the nose. Those are the anime slash manga type of details um, that you usually see. And while this game itself, the characters won't be uh, manga-ish, at least I hope not. There is this balance of like, how do you style a character without it looking too like anime? What is that loud pitch screeching in the background? Oh, uh, for those of you who don't know, we do have a dog in this office, quite cute. The name is Fife, and he is a mini Australian Shepherd. She's our designer Amanda's little puppy. Uh, Cutest thing, although sometimes does get a little rowdy, but he's a puppy. Five alive, Fife, five. Did I say it properly? Fife, as in Fife dog, from a tribe called Quest. Um, Getting back to the drawing. Proportions. One thing that was good about our alpha or pre-alpha or alpha character temp model that's in the game right now, that we use as a placeholder for this Gardner character, was just seeing how detailed a character needed to be, what worked. In the game right now, she is a Gardner character. She has overalls and a plaid shirt on. She doesn't have a big backpack or anything like that, but she has, you know, very expressive eyes. Something that I didn't really actually have in my earlier designs, and actually, you know what, I want to stay away from that at the moment. Or you just put her glasses instead. Yeah, I'm going a bit slow here, but it's okay. It was a good learning experience just to see a character in place and what things, you know, how much detail I would need to put into ours. Um, so right now I'm trying to think of like what kind of things. Really want to emphasize that she is an older lady, and on a small character might be hard to see the details. So I'm trying to think of things that are particular to older people. I'm not sure if this is a real thing or it's just something I've heard and believe. Is that people's, as you age, your nose and your ears continue to grow. I'm not sure if that is a thing or not. Uh, I think the ears thing at least is partially true because I'm always astonished by how big some elderly people their ears are. I'm not sure it's because of maybe your face shrinks in other ways, but or it's just the droopiness or the sagginess that's occurring. But it's just something I've kind of noticed. So I'm thinking, does she have larger ears? Looks odd right now because I don't think I have the rest of her hair in there that's really making the shape. So I think that's working out okay. I might have done her head bigger than I probably should have. Well, it kind of matches the side profile here. Although in one, it seems that I gave her a jutting lower lip and chin in this front-facing view. Let me see if I can match that in side profile. You know. Yeah, does that look a bit more like? I think that works. Maybe I should put. You know what? I'm going to search. General views. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give her jowls. That's it. This character, this Gardner, she's gonna get some jowls going on here. I like that. I like that a lot. Alright. Going back to this view. What is next? Okay. She had So now I'm thinking about her body, how big it needs to be, where the weight is, what shape is it, her boots, how they look. Again, very rough at the moment. Is she on an angle? I think I did these lines on an angle. Alright, done. So right now, I'm just trying to figure out, where would the weight on her reside? Um, at her age, would it go more to the hips? Lower down, just beyond the hips? Again, this is very rough. It looks rough. What I'm trying to do right now is just kind of the basics are there that I got everything that I think she will need. Then I'll probably do another pass at this later on. Um, gloves. Those are here. Very rough. Same thing on the other side. I wish this program, Procreate, had some kind of mirroring capabilities. So if I was doing something like this, I mean, it's supposed to be mirrored on both sides. I don't think anything changes from, other than maybe her backpack and stickish kind of orange changes from one side to the other. So So he's having a mirroring type of capability, like in Sketchbook Pro has that. I think there's another program called Drafts or Concept. It's actually called Concept, which is actually another good drawing program for the iPad. They both have mirroring capabilities. If you guys are looking for that, something like that, and also as of yesterday, Sketchbook Pro, Adobe Sketchbook Pro apps are now free. Before they were, I think, subscription based. I used to subscribe to it for a while, but Procreate is a better app. I'm not sure. I haven't tried it in almost a year, so who knows if they made enough changes where it's something that I might consider going back to. But it's free now, so can't hurt to try. Yeah, essentially continue working away at this, just getting things somewhat in the way that I would like them to look. Again, the silhouette is important. I'm not sure if I'm happy with the silhouette right now, but I think there's some fun things about her that are worth kind of pursuing. I don't like her lower half right now. Could just because I'm really breezing through this and not really paying attention to how strict it should be. But I don't feel like I really got her legs right at all. But again, I'm zooming through. I just want to get the basics of it down, make sure. So when I do another pass and any more changes, everything is caught. I'll show you some other earlier drafts I did this week. What was the one basing it on? That's where it first started. More action pose, simpler. With the faces, I really want to capture just how easily the look and character could change just by the hairstyle. Wearing a hat, or she's wearing something like she's tying something around her head, or something a little more youthful, like a bun. I think I went for the bun look. That is youthful, a little more spry looking. So that was that. But then there are things like designs like this, where a little more Baba Yaga-ish, where she had some creature's bones in her hair, on her forehead, some decorative type of flowers or plants in her hair, along with which I'm going to keep the branches growing out. That all kind of just changed her demeanor and kind of look. And then there's this one, which is just like, okay, let's see what it would look like if I was coloring her. I don't know how I'm gonna do her eyes. I'm not sure how her eyes are going to be portrayed just yet. But this was a fun little thing to do, only because I've been craving to do more color work in illustration, and this was just something quick I could whip off just to see. I think that's all that was there. It was showing off. Going back to this one now, put in her bag. She's always had this giant bag that she's carrying, and I think I've kind of there we go. I'm not sure if I made it like too high. Is it too high? And also how big is it? kind of want to look like, you know, like a giant Santa's gift bag where the stuff inside is just pushing up the edges and it's, you know, about to pop. I love the fact that she could be walking around with this thing on her back. What I didn't do this time around was actually show the shoulder straps. I think again the at the size she's going to appear in the game, I don't think it would have been noticeable, and would have just been interfering with like, oh, she is actually wearing this. Again, I don't know what it's called, but uh, this cowl cape thing. Anyways, and I didn't want to have to deal with figuring out a way I could show shoulder straps and have this on her at the same time. Should have stopped a second ago just to take in what the bag was looking like. Now I think I just made it too round, opening not big enough. Yeah, I think I should have gone with something more, more like a basket rather than overflowing trash bag. So I think I'm going to redo that right now. Quickly. So first step, do I really want a bag that high? I'm not sure if I really want the bag that high. What I might actually change the tilt of it in the profile view so that the opening is facing angled slightly away from her. And if I do that, that means I won't see it here. So I think this is a bit better in shape-wise, although I do want things pushing out of it and didn't want that kind of roundness going on. I do want there to be a slight bit more shape or structure as well. Simple. And again, it's like even though it is a detail that, you know, I might find needs more thought and consideration of like, oh man, are the angles to her backpack really uh, exactly the way I want? When I realize that it is going to be really tiny on screen and might not even be noticeable, those are times where I just gotta pull back and say, don't worry about it. But I'm just going to use these. I like, at least in the illustration concept phase, um, putting in and thinking about those kind of details actually, you know, will help the modeler uh, when making the asset, and they can make some more informed decisions about like how things can be modeled or interpreted. So I think that's that. So she has these horns coming out. She's one coming out right behind her bangs, as it were. Again, I'm still going to draw in details, even though they're going to be too small to be seen in the game. Like these leaves, maybe a flower here. You know, so right now I'm thinking, is this a character that I'd be interested to see in a game? Um, I think there's a lot of potential there, especially when you start seeing her uh, hitting things, running around. Oh my god, I forgot she has a cane. She has a cane, so I gotta work that in right now. But seeing a character like, you know, like her, she's kind of supposed to be kind of spry. You know, I hope in the game there is some sprint mechanic. Like so, at this event I went to on Monday called Friends Playing Games. It was the first time that the public got a chance to try our alpha, pre-alpha, alpha, and I got some valuable feedback from that night. And one thing I heard was, uh, you know, there's only one speed that she can walk, and that maybe we should consider putting in a sprint mechanic so she'll walk faster. Sprint mechanic also means that there's going to be two sets of animations, you know, for a walk cycle and then a run cycle. So what would a running grandma that has a cane look like? Uh, I don't know right now, but I think that is something that's pretty cool, an interesting image to think of, and how that's going to appear on screen. Um, yeah, so right now I got to do her cane. Um, maybe next week. Hopefully by next week. Um, you know, this character, she should be done by Monday, as in done drawing her, and just kind of agreeing that that's what she's going to look like, at least at this stage. Um, and so that also means that what I might move on afterwards is just her animation sheets, as in like how does I'll do a very simple keyframe animation of what does she look like when she's walking, what does she look like when she's sprinting, and I'll show you like a quick view of what I did last time. I mean, I'm not sure if I even showed this on screen before. I can find the application. There you go. Rough Animator. Um, a good, one of our friends. He's a animator himself, and he works on an iPad a lot and does some idea generation on it. And he introduced me to this application. I thought it was just suits my needs. It's not. I don't think you can do any kind of real professional work on it, but it does help with getting things set in place. So I did one very, very, very simple animation of like what would she look like if you know she was hitting things, the Mugu, because we do have a lob animation in the game, and I was thinking, initially we were thinking she's gonna have some kind of fire hose type of thing. She sucks the Mugu up with and shoots them out from. But I was reluctant to put some kind of technology like that on her. I think she's definitely a non-technical character that wouldn't be carrying around this kind of hose, but she does have a stick. And so this is the animation I did with her, kind of like, okay, if we have two animations, what would one of them look like where the Mugu are flying in an arc? This is a very simple idea. So I think this one, the idea of her hitting a stick is where this first started. And then where and what it will look like when they land. Here's what I did for that. You know, a landing, kind of rolling, and then the Mugu are looking up from where they kind of rolled to a stop. I always thought that was a cute thing. So probably next week, once the initial designs for the character are finished, I'll probably go in and do a few of these animation sheets of what would it look like when she is walking, sprinting. What does it look like when she is throwing, hitting Mugu? And then maybe even do some expression sheets. I don't know if I have if I'm gonna go that far, or if they require animations from as stills from me, or if they're just simple drawings of what her reaction should be. But those are things that I can work on for next week. So I'm just gonna finish her off, at least this image. I do want her to have bits of the creatures she's captured before. When you say captured, at this point, they're parts of them. I'm assuming if they're in her bag and not entire creatures, she's probably killed them and dismembered them in some fashion, as unpleasant as that sounds. What does it? One of our plant monsters might have some kind of wood type horn or bone. Some plant leaves here, so I'll be quickly outlining those. So yeah, I think I'm done with this pass of her. I don't, I'm not entirely happy with, at least again, her midsection. And again, I forgot to do her cane, so I might just spend 2 more minutes just filling that out. And actually, one thing I'm noticing now, and this is probably the biggest mistake I just did, was where her shoulders sit, which is further up than I did. But she should be slumping. I mean, it's, oh man, it is like up here. So I'm going to quickly erase this because I really do want to fix that mistake. But yeah, I do want to show that, you know, her posture isn't the best. I'm not one to judge. I don't want this just to look like, oh, she has a big padding. I do want it to seem like her shoulders are really up here. And then she's slumping forward a bit. And I think I'm gonna add in a space for her jowl to be seen, because it does get seen in the side profile view, so I do want to show that there. And maybe fix her arms so it does look like her elbows are further up than the initial placement, so that it sits well if her shoulders are up here, her elbows probably over here, just to get the right proportion for her. Okay, so there. I think we're good for now, other than her cane, which was this twisty, knotted thing that I last worked on yesterday. I didn't want it to just be a straight cane anymore. I wanted something that looks a little more like unique. But again, it's probably one of those things where, you know what, somebody does have to model this. It can't just be this very loose kind of quirky drawing that I'm whipping together. So I'll do that detail a little later. But I think, you know, even with the technical difficulties I had earlier in the few minutes I lost there, again, I think I got through today okay. I think she turned out right for the front pose. So yeah, I think I'm going to stop here. Maybe next week I'll show off, the other poses of her, or maybe I'll just start doing some animations, or it might be even one of the movies. Next up for me is going to be actually redesigning the movies. So if I don't end up showing her next week, be aware that there's still some funky, cool stuff to come along that I'll be working on and showing. So either be her or the Boo-Goos. Thanks again. This is Jeff from Stitch Media. Thanks for joining me as I do some concept work for Terrorarium. All right. I will see you guys next week. Thanks.